It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Hi guys, good afternoon. It's 2:30 p.m. CAT, meaning that we just got US PPI. You can see inside the chat window 0.4 versus 0.3 month to month, previous minus 0.3. Yeah, a little bit better. So we will see how dollar will react. But guys, it's going to be short, sweet, risk warning. Please bear in mind, trading effects or margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for investors against sales of some initial investments, so please do not invest the money you cannot afford to lose. Seek education, gain experience before risking real money. However, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Alright, so as you probably know, after the morning meeting, I'm holding short dollar yen, holding short S&P. Basically, that's what we discussed yesterday. Nothing has changed. I've been a little bit afraid when I saw the spike, post-China news related spike about the tariffs. Either it's going to be buy the dip or market is already getting weaker and weaker. We will see. I missed cable trade. There was a retest of the levels, pre-retail sales level retest, and then huge sell-off. This one, unfortunately, I missed, right? So I'm not gonna tell you. We were discussing. I left the trading plan, and to be honest with you, actually, I missed that trade, right? I'm not gonna tell you that. Oh yeah, I already dropped few pips on the cable. No, really, I missed, and shame on me. Nothing extraordinary going on with Euro. Been thinking of, as we are inside this falling channel, been thinking about the spike a little bit higher above the line, right? We just touched the line, so another approach here is possible. So what we are going to discuss this afternoon, as I mentioned before during the morning meeting, plenty of things happen over the last 24 hours. So been thinking that it's going to be good to have a while to discuss all of them with the possible trading plan preparation for some currency pairs, maybe gold again, maybe oil this time, or maybe some addition into the indices. So well, that's the full ex-food and energy. Let me put some more numbers. Initial jobless claims. Okay, so let's for a first few minutes, let's have a look if we are going to get some additional move in relation to the cable or pound yen, right? Because we have a breakdown on the Euro JPY. Unfortunately, they didn't feel our trading plan. I mean, we haven't seen the rally towards 120. We are falling and we are testing possible demand intraday demand based on what we seen in the past, and that's what we discussed already yesterday, right? So that's this demand over here. Breaking lower will open 119.10, 119, right? Unfortunately, as I mentioned, I haven't seen the rally back, so well, there was no possibility to be filled at 120, right? This consolidation on the pound yen, pound dollar, right? I think we are going to get some kind of the either breakout or breakdown. Getting closer to the election. Gold towards 1500, looking to buy. They already started during the Tokyo session, the rally, so, well, I missed this pullback during the Tokyo. Sometimes you have to have the break, right? So for me, it was like, usually the break is during the Tokyo session. The good thing is, it's here on the hourly. Right, that's the place where we've seen the latest weakness, right? So let's make a few changes on that chart. So just from the intraday perspective, of course, I'm going to show you the higher time frame as well. But just from the intraday perspective, I like what was going on yesterday around that level, right? Because right now the 50% of that consolidation eventually, right, is a rally base rally, right? So we are waiting for the pullback right now. Not sure, one can argue that we've seen the pullback already this morning around the Frankfurt Open. Let's have a look if we can get something in addition during the New York Open. Because here it wasn't real breakout. The real breakout was 1 hour later, right? So in that case, maybe, just maybe, the pullback towards 1460 maybe. There is still possibility to have over-under here as well, right? So taking into the consideration the latest breakdown here. So here is the one possible attempt, and of course, here is the second eventually, right? So what we are going to do, I'm gonna remove few lines, additional lines here. Those ellipses as well, and we are going to well, let's do this that way. That's what we are going to do. Okay, sounds reasonable. All right, so more or less in regards to the gold. So going slowly, step by step. Let's start with what happened yesterday. It was the first day of the impeachment hearing. To be honest with you, no super fireworks. Also, the Powell testify didn't bring any kind of the dollar weakness or strength. Especially is visible on what is going on euro dollar, right? It's like, well, you know, 20 pips, right? Also cable, Tuesday, Wednesday, today, very narrow consolidation, right? Even dollar yen is not falling that hard, right? But the setup from yesterday was beauty. So it's working well. Yeah, I was more scary on the S&P than the dollar yen. Weak bounce. We are working with this possible demand, and looks like, yeah, we got the chance to hit another demand, and that's where my target, right? And as we calculated this morning, is going to be for this remaining half, because half been closed. For this remaining half is going to be 6R, right? So that's what we do here during our meetings, right? Okay, we are talking, watching the charts. We are not in the rush, trying to get the best entry. Of course, it's not always working my way, right? But because of these tiny distances between the entry and the stop, because of the very tiny exposure, right? I do feel comfortable with what I'm doing, and that's what we are all trying to learn here. The discipline, the patience, right? Meisterstick here. Anyway, and the S&P finally, we have to take out this yesterday post-Trump news related to China low to take out, right? That would be good, because what we might have here, it's possible over under, so taking the stops based on the intraday move, and going back, right? So this over under is our danger here. So we had a impeachment hearing, we had a Powell, and to be honest with you, nothing has happened, right? Then during the Tokyo session, we had some data, right? Especially weak Chinese data, and that looks like China feels the heat from the tariffs, okay? So fixed asset investments lower, Chinese industrial production lower, retail sales lower, and unemployment rate 5.1. So it was weak. Also, there was a disappointment from Australia, right? There was a disappointment from Australia, and in that case, we are going to discuss in a second Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar, because on the other hand, as you remember, I've been a fan of the longs Aussie Kiwi back to when we were around 350, right? We were discussing quite a few times Australian versus New Zealand dollar. Few days ago we hit some highs and we saw strong pullback. Now the market been very short New Zealand overall ahead of the RBNZ, right? And well, there was an expectation that they are going to cut, right? But they didn't, and we saw huge short covering on the Kiwi. Now, the next meeting is in mid-February. Okay, the data wasn't that bad. So this kind of the picture, okay, macro fundamental perspective, this kind of the picture, if we are going to put those puzzles together, giving the quite positive picture for the New Zealand dollar, right? But because of what is going on around, right? Because it's not the huge risk on sentiment right now. I don't wanna have exposure of the New Zealand long New Zealand dollar versus, I don't know, yen or US dollar. I'm gonna to watch Kiwi dollar versus Canadian and Australian dollar based on the dovish Bank of Canada as well as the weak Australian data, right? So here within the commodity block, I'm going to try to find some opportunities, and that's what we are going to discuss in a few moments. Waiting for the breakdown on the dollar yen, waiting for the breakdown on S&P. We still got 45 minutes towards the US cash open, so I do prefer to see the breakdown during the cash market. So guys, you can hold that level right now. Let's have small rally from here and let's break down during the or after the US cash open, right? Could you do me a favor, dear Mr. Market? All right, so that's what happened during the Tokyo session. So let's have a look what we have on Australian dollar versus New Zealand dollar and New Zealand dollar versus Canadian dollar. So let's start with AUD and ZD. Let's make it on the new chart. That's what I've been talking about, right? Rejection and market speeded up a bit after RBNZ. So, beauty as it is, this double top here. I love this kind of the double tops. Now, let's have a look what we can see to the downside and eventually from where the bounce may occur, and be ready for some sell Australian dollar on Riley. All right, well, that's the possible demand which has been broken today, right? Which has been broken. So that might be the first line of the defense, but we need the daily close below, right? So let's wait for a end of the day. Here is untested demand, and that's what we hit, and that's what creating the lower shadow right here, right now, right? So a little bit of the possible demand wall here, all right? Possible demand wall here. Now, the next one is again a little bit lower. We are going to discuss all those details in a second. Give me some time. Hi, Abdul. We are going to discuss because crude is the levels I like from the short perspective, but because of the bank holiday we had in US, the official EA data release is going to be today at 5 p.m. CT. But we will get back into that. Now, what I like the most here, right, is the fact that we can agree that was some period of consolidation. Okay, we can agree that was some period of consolidation. There was an attempt to break, pull back to the top of that consolidation, bounce, pull back, attempt to rally, huge failure, right? So I do think that the middle demand here, which we are working on right now, right? I think that we might cancel that one. I'm going to explain why. All right, in a second, give me some time. I'm going to get there. Because what we have here with this failure right now, telling me that there is a possibility we are going to retest at least mid of that consolidation, meaning that this demand zone. At least. So levels close to 105.35, 104.90. Okay, that's what I think we might see. So let's remove this big consolidation and let's focus on that mid-range. Okay, so that could be possible target. And because I'm looking to sell, so now what I would like to see, I would like to see some kind of the bounce to have a possibility to sell on Riley, right? So let's assume that that was some kind of the consolidation. Failure at the top, trying to break to the downside, right? Trying to break to the downside. Now, if that was consolidation, so we are trying to learn the easiest ways to try to, and easiest tools to try to use during our trading journey, right? So what you probably already noticed that usually what I'm doing, the easiest way after the break, and if there is a continuation, this is the doubling of the original size of the consolidation, right? So in that case, look, everything looks fine here. If we are about to double that previous consolidation to the downside, we are going to hit some levels close to 105.30, and that's the levels we discussed a second ago. That's where the demand may reside, right? So okay, so we know we have that some kind of the double confirmation that if market will continue to the downside, there is a chance to hit these levels towards 105.30, 104.90. All right, cool. Now, you know, guys, also that I hate chasing the markets, right? Meaning that I hate to sell right now, okay? So what I would like to see, the easiest way is to tell you the 50% of that range, right? Because that's the easiest way. But very often, if you already noticed, it's not only 50%. Usually at around these levels, we have some kind of the confirmation based on the supply and demand, right? So let's remove this consolidation, all right? And let's have a look. Let's study what we have here, right? So what happened when we failed yesterday? It was the break of the possible demand, latest possible demand. Where was latest possible demand? Where was the block? Here was the block. Here was the block, right? Because there was a pullback and Riley with our new high, right? So the first move to the downside, there was a reaction. 2 days ago, we were trying to escape from that. Then we broke through that level yesterday, right? So if we broke through the previous levels, which were supposed to work as a demand and actually work for 2 days as a demand, so right now, market theoretically, market should get back and retest this old demand right now, supply, right? Right now, supply. So I would love to see retest of the levels close to 730, 740. I know that from now, it's 100 pips, I know. But before the close, daily close today, I'm not gonna do anything else. I'm waiting. Then the picture is going to, if we are going to close lower, right? Then the first is going to be here, but not today. Now we know what we are waiting for. Let's get back and place this consolidation we agreed on. Where is this supply? 50% of that consolidation, guys, right? Well, okay, so we know. So maybe the New Zealand Canadian is gonna be somewhere easier a bit. Well, it might not be that easy. It might not be that easy. We have some kind of the double bottom, triple bottom. Well, that's the latest weakness. Well, maybe. With Kiwi versus Canadian, right? There are two levels. Either the zone, the demand zone, right? Because from here we went higher. We took out the last high, right? So that's like Riley base Riley, pull back to that zone, but cannot be ruled out that if we are going to treat that one as a consolidation, that we might pull back even lower to the previous latest weakness, 83.320, right? So here is gonna be the challenge. Abdul, so if you put PO for sell the you mean the limit sell order? Pending order, limit sell order. Let's get back there. Let me explain you further. I'm going to have an alarm over there. I'm going to have an alarm over there. So here is going to be my alarm. All right, at this level, around 107.20. It's gonna be my alarm. Why alarm? Because if you see, that's something like 50 pips range, all right? So it's a little bit too wide for me. So what I'm gonna do because my alarm is gonna be a little bit lower to be notified earlier, right? If I'm going to have my alarm, what I'm gonna to do, I'm going to switch to, for example, 1 hour chart, right? And because of we are discussing about that zone, I'm gonna to watch the price action on a lower time frame, what is going on here, right? Because I already see here that instead of selling at the bottom of that zone, on intraday from the intraday perspective, there is a little bit better level, higher towards 750, but I don't know if we are going that high, right? So yeah, I'm going to have an alarm once the price will slowly is going to try to get back into 107, let's say, then I'm gonna to start to monitor what is going on, because from that perspective we also have some kind of the gap over here. So there are few possible levels or zones to try to take the advantage of eventual rally if we are going to see the one. All right. So because simply it's too wide. If you remember, guys, if you remember our discussion yesterday, we will get back to the Canadian as well in a second. If you remember our discussion yesterday on the dollar yen, if you remember our discussion about the dollar yen, right? So that was the breakdown, all right? We were talking about broken Monday low, all right? We drew few yellow zones, meaning the intraday zones. We went lower, we went even lower, and we went even to 1 minute chart as far as I remember. In regards to the dollar yen, we spoke about the range based on the 5-minute chart, right? So the idea was to try to sell here. I sold pip lower, and to have a stop above this spike, right? So my initial trade here was with 8 pip stop, right? So what I've been explaining this morning during the UK retail sales, where we were waiting for the data, I've been explaining that because of we hit first demand and we move a little bit higher, we were bouncing, so I took partial profit. I didn't take the profit at the very bottom. I'm not gonna lie here, I took a little bit higher, but I took around 18 pips, all right? So my partial profit already was 2R, My second target is 6R. So in total, it's gonna be 8R divided by 2. It's gonna be, there is a possibility if we are going to hit my second target, that is gonna be 4R in total, right? But that's why I'm sitting with you guys here, learning with you together, trying to tell you not to chase the market, trying to be disciplined, because we are looking for the best possible entry, where the stop is gonna be very tight, and where we are able to reach our targets 3R, 4R, 5R faster, right? Because you have to ask yourself, guys, where you are going to hit 3R faster or 5R faster. When you are going to hit 5R faster, either when you have 8 pip stop or 80 pip stop, right? With 8 pip stop, you need just 40 pips to have 5R. When your stop is 80 pips, you need 400 pips to get your 5R. Of course, I do understand that because I'm using very tight stops, I may have series of losses. I do understand that. That's why my exposure is very low. 0.1 to 0.25. That's what I feel comfortable with. Okay? Okay, good. Let's get back to NZD CAD. So here, either we are going to get back to the first demand, so the green box, and if you are going to hit that level, again, look, it's not a magic. But sometimes it looks like it might be the magic. But half of that range we have some nice demand based on the intraday chart, right? So we have some kind of the head and shoulders creation right now on the hourly chart. I'm not gonna be surprised if we are going to try to get lower here. So again, I'm gonna have to watch carefully. I'm not sure if it's going to happen today. And I don't wanna see move like this. I wanna see drop, bounce, drop, bounce. I would like to see intraday supply to be consumed every time we have lower levels. A little bit of the pullback, a little bit of the rally. Okay? Okay. Guys, I never told you it's gonna be easy. Well, if you are trying to learn with someone else who told you it's gonna be easy and just like that, and you also paid for that, just ask for refund. Trading is not easy. Because you shouldn't chase the price, you have to have a lot of patience for waiting for the price to get back to you. You want price to get back to you. Okay? So in both cases, out NZD and NZD CAD, so the commodity block, I'm looking to buy New Zealand dollar because of what I already explained. All right, so we have covered those two. We have covered gold. I'm gonna to look what's going to happen in case of the pullback towards 62.59. We will see. I'm staying short still. Dollar yen waiting for the breakdown. What might be, if we see initial attempt to rally on the indices, the dollar yen might spike higher as well. We will see. So we have some kind of the consolidation on the pound USD and the GBP JPY, pound yen. So here, nothing to do, just wait for the break or failure, right? So you wanna see at least attempt to break with quick reversal, and well, you may want to trade towards the opposite band. But what we are going to focus on within the next few minutes is gonna be crude, Euro JPY, and Euro dollar, all right? But let's have very short break. Let me get the breath, right? Because I'm gonna to lose the voice. So let's watch for a second. Just watch the chart, and we are going to discuss Euro dollar, Euro JPY, and crude. All right. So just give me 2 or 3 minutes to recover. So we discussed what happened during the Tokyo session, and based on what and why New Zealand dollar versus Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar versus Canadian dollar. Okay, so what happened this morning, it was the Euro spike based on the German preliminary GDP, right? So it was plus 0.1, and the whole market was laughing that Germany escaped the recession, right? But the previous reading was revised down even more. Anyway, so let's discuss euro dollar. So anyway, with euro dollar, as for now, it might change. Don't forget, within the next 50 minutes we have again Powell testifying. But if market didn't move yesterday based on Powell, probably market is not gonna move today based on the Powell. Anyway, not many changes. Yesterday, if you remember, we were discussing that I'm gonna to try. Hi MHB, how you doing? That I'm gonna to try to sell based on the weekly open blue dotted line, right? Unfortunately, we didn't get there. And today's spike post German data, it was immediately sold at the green dotted line, meaning we have two green dotted line. I'm gonna to do separate video what different colors mean on my chart. It's gonna be like 7 minutes long only. It's gonna be in the archive section. I'm gonna to do that video one day, just not to repeating every time the same thing. But anyway, they didn't get that high, right? Today they just reached Monday low and it was rejected with the new low in place, right? The thing is that they didn't they didn't even hit top of the channel, right? So euro dollar overall is very slow right now. So, well, I'm gonna to watch still what's going on once we are going to retest Monday low or weekly open again. But because euro dollar is slow, but within downside channel, right? That's why if you are going MHB, if you are going to switch to the beginning of today's meeting, so we are educating for almost 45 minutes already. Very detailed, very detailed. But also, as I mentioned, the separate videos are going to take place. It were supposed to start last week, but there is a little bit of the delay. I'm sorry for that. I'm gonna to do as well, yes. Guys, it's a process. It's gonna get some time. Be patient. That's the first lesson. Be patient. Anyway, we were waiting for Euro JPY yesterday for rally back to 120, right? Unfortunately, it didn't happen. So there was no retest. We just fall down straight to the next demand level. And market is trying to bounce around this demand, yellow, right? It's based on what we discovered yesterday. Few pips lower towards 119.10, there is another one demand. So maybe we are going to see some kind of the bounce on the Euro JPY. But in case of the dollar yen going lower with downward channel on the euro dollar, well, I might not see my levels. So in that case, I'm going to have to switch find my supply a little bit lower. And I can see one here based on the shadows only, right? And it's related to the high of the day today. And it's related to over-under strategy. I will try to, Abdullah, I will try to check, guys. Give me a second. What's the current? So it's night in Malaysia right now. It's 10 It's 10:15, right? It's 10:15. Well, but you know, guys, all those videos are recorded, so you can get back and watch from the education perspective, right? Anyway, Euro JPY. I'm going to look based on what happened during the Tokyo session. I'm going to look. So the original plan, the initial, right, is 120. But I'm gonna also, in case of the bounce, Riley, I'm gonna to watch around 119.75, 119.80. So I'm gonna to switch to lower time frame on Euro JPY, and I'm going to check what is going on once we are here. But I'm gonna take into the consideration what is going on dollar JPY and euro dollar, as well as what's the situation on the indices. Okay. Crude, finally, we are at the top of the range, and we were discussing that it's something I may look around and try to sell oil, but I do understand if we are going to get the break to the upside from that range, we might hit 58.60 and a little bit higher. So I do understand my risk here, right? And that I might be forced to re-enter, for example, right? Anyway, we have the EA data later today. So what I'm gonna to look for, but looks like they're rejecting right now. Well, that's the latest demand. If we are going to break through, there was one attempt, higher, lower. If we are going to break through, retest of 57.50 could be the case here. We'll see. I'm looking for a failure here and move back towards 56.70, 56.50 as a first target, and stops to the downside. So waiting here for now. Let's have a look what we have on a smaller time frame. Well, there was nice here move. Looks like it might be missed. We'll see. Nothing has happened yet here. So let's wait. Let's have a look what they are going to do. We have US cash open right now. If there are gonna to be manipulation on the stocks to the upside, so they will manipulate oil as well. So let's be patient here. Let's wait and see. You know, I'm not in rush. I'm sitting short dollar yen. I'm sitting short S&P. So you know, I don't wanna be overexposed. Come on, dollar yen, speed it up to the downside. So looks like it's a good thing. That's what I've been talking half an hour ago, that I don't want to see the breakdown here on the S&P before US cash open. Before US cash open. Yeah, there is a combination of the weak Australian data, weak Chinese data. We were discussing the possibility to sell Australian dollar versus New Zealand dollar, right? But I have to see the Riley there. Very quiet market before the open. So once US cash will open, we will see first few minutes what kind of the reaction we are going to get. Then we will try to summarize the day and confirm the ideas we discussed. So let's wait for US cash open. In the meantime, I'm going to check if we have something from the news services. By the way, guys, there are plenty of Fed speakers during the day. Clarida, Evans, Powell, of course, testify within the next 40 minutes. Williams, Bullard, plenty of them. Okay, going grab bottle of water. Okay. Of course, the news related with the impeachment hearing might have the biggest influence, I think, especially on the indices. A few minutes ago on Reuters, Chinese President Xi about the situation in Hong Kong. Restoring order and stopping violence is the most urgent task for Hong Kong right now. Well, we were discussing this yesterday, that it's unpleasant situation, and fingers crossed for the peaceful solution, right? Okay, so there was a Evans from the Fed, but there was no discussion about the monetary policy from his side. 6 minutes to go. I'm talking about the US Cash Open. Of course, within the next 35 minutes we have option expiration. So let's have a look if we have some big chunk somewhere close to current market price. So what we have? Nothing. 86.40 euro pound. No, too far. Euro dollar. 110. What we have at 110? 1.5 billion only. Nothing extra. Oh no, sorry, 800 million. Nothing extraordinary from the option market perspective. Dollar yen 850 billion. Not big chunks. It looks like we have a big bounce on euro dollar, but it only looks like, right? Because it's a whole 14-15 pips for now. Well, the thing is with the Fed, and since Powell took over, there was a slight change into how does it look after then we have this press conference after each Federal Reserve rate decision, and you know, based on the current things, what is going on, there was, I would say, some kind of the miscommunication lately. So that's why market is focusing every month to trying to get out something of that statement, of that press conference. And also is the, you know, this type of the events is the very, very good moment to manipulate the market, meaning for those big guys to earn the money. That's why, that's where the focus is and why the focus is there. And of course, from the intraday perspective, that's quite important, right? But based on what you're asking for, we, for example, I'm not sure if you've been here from the very beginning. That's what we discussed based on the latest New Zealand central bank. That the next meeting is in the mid of February, and that's why I'm looking to buy New Zealand dollar versus Canadian and versus Australian dollar. plus combination of the weak Australian data, Chinese data, what is going on in Hong Kong, that might have influence on the Australian dollar as well, overall. All right, let's get ready. Same here on oil. I'm going lower the stop for my S&P to just over the today's high, even though it's over under is here. Okay, it's gonna be like 5.5 points. I had a much higher the stop, but if those guys decide to go all in again, you know, the algo they just need, you know, one positive news and we are again sky high. We have some data tomorrow from the US, so it could be market mover ahead of the weekend. We have retail sales out of the US. We have capacity utilization as well as industrial production. You know what? It might be that I'm gonna to schedule last minute stream for tomorrow. So, well, you are going to be notified if you subscribed. Well, in my opinion, we shouldn't take out this high. If we are about to go lower, right? Because if they want to go higher, they are going to take out this high, the Tokyo high, whatever. So at the same time, with stocks trying to go higher, dollar yen is trying to go higher. I don't want to see them breaking 108.75. So for the remaining half, I'm lowering my stop, securing some 5 pips. So yeah, so they even trying to hold oil at current level. So there was no breakdown yet on the oil, so I'm not interested right here, right now. Well, you know, maybe it's going to be worth to wait for this green zone based on the daily chart, right? Instead of this intraday consolidation. You know, selling from the higher levels is always better. All right, so let's try to summarize what we have here. So I'm sitting half short dollar yen. I took partial profit when they were trying to bounce from that demand. Sitting small short, small exposure on the S&P. Looking to sell oil either on a failure here or higher rally towards 58.60. That's the plan even we discussed yesterday. I would like to see pullback on the gold. I would like to see pullback towards 1462, 1459, right? Either this consolidation, some lower levels of this consolidation, because that's what I've been trying to explain. That was the latest weakness seen here, right? Right, so there was a break. Hopefully we are going to see some kind of the pullback, or we are going to take the advantage of this last candle on the hourly chart, and in that case that's 59, right? So I wanna see what kind of the price action we are going to get here. I'm looking to sell either euro dollar or euro JPY. Probably in case of the weaker market, I'm going to choose euro JPY. But in case of you know, those guys pushing market higher, in case I'm gonna be stopped out and they are going to be, you know, skyrocketing on the indices, I'm going to watch what's going to happen on euro dollar between Monday low and weekly open. So maybe some attempt to spike above this top of the channel, move back inside the channel, and continuation to the downside. In case of the risk off, I have two levels to watch on the euro JPY, 1175, 1180 as a first one, 120, 120.05 as a second one. And pretty much that's it, guys. You know, if the stocks will go higher, probably oil will go higher and the gold will go lower, right? Thanks, MHB, thanks. Well, I think, you know, I'm a bit bearish on the market. But because all people I know, almost all, are bearish as well, we might not see lower levels on the indices. We might see another leg higher. All right, guys, thank you very much. It was my pleasure again to be with you. Again, I will try to prepare, if there are gonna be possibility, I'm going to try to prepare the stream for tomorrow. And well, I'm sorry for a slight delay in relation to the educational videos, but I'm really going to start as soon as I can. And some of them are gonna be live streams, but no worries. I think that the colleagues from Light Forex, they are gonna to create another playlist which is gonna be called education, and you are going to have everything there. Okay, so let's watch for a second, a little bit longer, what is going on the market. But we discussed already what was to discuss, so just watching. By the way, Bitcoin is testing 8,500 or very close to the levels we discussed last Monday during the crypto market coverage. So it's gonna be also, the weekend might be interesting from the crypto perspective. We might see a little bit higher volatility after the Powell start to testify and ahead of the London fix. There could be a bit higher volatility, so be careful out there, guys. I'm talking about the next hour, right? In relation to the morning meeting, where we were covering UK retail sales data and the pound, I think that's what we discussed this morning. I think that they are going to, it might be break to the upside, and they are going to make similar in size, like higher, right? Meaning that 20, so they are going to take out Monday high, hitting the falling trend line right here, 29.20. Also, if we are going to make the measure of that consolidation of the last 3 days, and we are going to put it higher, it's going to be very close to that line as well. But as of now, we are holding the levels we described yesterday, day before. So it's tiny consolidation on the cable. But of course, we can on the pound we can get either way break. It's enough that we are going to get the positive or negative election-related news. It's good, guys, to if you have access. I mean, it's enough to Google it. The latest surveys in relation how the particular parties are looks like, if they are. Percentage-wise, where they are, who is leading, right? If the latest poll is bringing some changes, pound is gonna be sensitive because of that. Well, we have plenty of shadows to the upside, but the early close, that might be thing. That was the latest and the highest early close. So there was an over-under, and that's what I missed. That's shame on me. At some point after our morning meeting, they retest the level, and I was a bit too afraid. Okay, so the dollar yen is trying, S&P is trying, so those two shorts maybe. Okay guys, so we have plenty of ideas. Be careful out there. Paper trading, that could be the solution. Don't be trapped, and have a great rest of the US session. Have a great rest of the day. For some of you, have a great evening and night. Abdul. And see you again, guys. Have a good one. It was my pleasure to be with you here. Hopefully we all learned something. See you next time, guys. See you around. Goodbye.